Okay.
Oh, well, do the clapper. Period. Let's get this started.
Let's get it
Started
started.
in here. Hi. Where am I looking?
You do this all the time at this point. Guys, I promise when we're off camera, we're pretty normal.
I want this to give like Summer Walker and Ari Lennox.
Oh, that video.
I just want it to be.
So bestie just having a conversation.
Yeah. No. You have to put your face in it?
Yes.
Okay, hi, I'm Adasia. This is my YouTube channel. I am a writer, so I talk about like my writing journey. Um, this is my friend Kobe. I'll let him introduce himself and what he does.
Hi, my name is Jacoby. I make music. I'm an R&B singer. I and that's really all. I write songs and yeah.
How we know each other?
You want me to explain?
Yes.
Me and Deja have basically known each other all our lives, is to say the least. We've known each other since elementary school, basically. We weren't really close in school, to be honest. After high school, I
Wormed his way into my
I
life.
did. But the thing is, after high school, and you know, after high school, everybody be like, "Oh my God, I miss my friends. I miss my friends." And I didn't go to college like everybody else did. Well, I went to college. I went to community college, but all my friends were basically off. So everybody that I still had their number and whatever, I would call them. I would call them, give a little cute catch up, and I just randomly started calling Deja almost every day. I could tell she was like, "What is this dude continuously calling my phone for?" But after some time, she opened up to it, and she was like, "This kid's kind of cool." There also was a level of comfortability that I had with Deja to where I knew she cared, but she didn't care that much. I was finna curse. She didn't care that much because it was like she knew me and we had each other's numbers, and me and Deja was always friends by association of other people. So we just kind of got closer after high school, but at this point, we're like brother and sister.
You could have got us like glasses or something.
That's a what in your personal life has influenced you to like become a writer?
I think I always attribute me becoming a writer to me like loving to read so much as a kid. And I attribute that to my mom. She always encouraged us to read, and sometimes not even encouraged. Like she forced us to do summer reading programs every summer. And I remember
I did the reading program like a couple times.
we did it every summer since I was in kindergarten without fail. And so it kind of just became part of the norm for me to read because I was having to do so much of it anyway. And so I started to actually enjoy it. I don't think I hated reading before my mom started making us do some reading. I think I just didn't really think of it as like a thing that, oh, people like check out books and they like just read them just to read them. Like there's no like
But
instant gratification,
oh yeah,
if
I
that
was
makes
gonna say
sense. Like
like
there's no like, oh, here's your candy. Even though in school
the AR points and stuff.
you do get arrow points and the trophies and stuff. I think at once I started realizing that's something I could get, I started really being like, oh my gosh, I just got 50. I need to get to 100. I need to get 150. I need to get. I
That
can't
was,
wait to get the big trophy. Like,
that was supposed to do like 500.
yeah, the people was getting crazy.
I,
But anyway, the question,
yes.
cause when we roll, we roll. Um, yes, I read a lot as a kid. Thanks, mom. And then at some point, I started realizing that oh, I can actually like write stuff too.
Yeah.
Maybe fourth and fifth grade when they started telling us, oh, you can like send like your poems and stuff to the farm for the contest, or you can send your short horror story in to the newspaper and they might publish it. I think once they started like showing, or like the teachers and stuff started actually giving us like different incentives or different ways that we can actually like write something and have it be seen by the public, I realized, oh, this is something that like it's not just people write the storybooks and then they go into the library and we happen to read them. It's like, oh, I can actually do this for life.
For sure.
If you had to have the soundtrack of your life, what would be the top three songs? And you got 30 seconds, big buddy.
30 seconds.
Yeah, make it quick.
You just had a whole 5 minutes. Don't piss
This
me
is my video.
off. I'm gonna say not three songs of my life. I'm gonna switch it up. Three songs by three artists who inspired me. I'll do that.
Okay.
Um,
Creative liberty.
yeah. We Need a Resolution by Aaliyah.
Mm.
That one for sure. The writing in that impeccable. Um, the writer that she uses, Static Major. I really got into a lot of his stuff a couple years ago because I like researching like writers and songs. And to find out his like repertoire of music and the way he just is with words, I love it. Brandy, of course, my queen, the goddess to my life. I would say Angel in Disguise. The when I discovered that album, I was probably like 12, 13, 14. I don't know.
Mm.
And the way that album has my heart, but that song in particular, when I heard it, I was like, what is this? What I don't know. The vocals on it, the stacks, her just the way Brandy can emote is something that I achieve greatly and
You strive for.
that I strive for sure when I make music. I just want to I want my music to feel personable and I want people to connect to it in a way that it's not just about the music. It's about the story that I tell within the music. I want it to be universal. My last song that I would say Whitney Houston Shoot.
Mm.
Whitney Houston Exhale. Whitney for sure has been a great inspiration. Do I sound like Whitney? Of course not. Who can? But at Whitney, I don't know. Her whole what she does is just it speaks for itself. So yeah, Whitney. And yeah,
Okay. Would you say that, because the way you talk about Brandy's album, would you say that that was one of the maybe like collection of songs that made you like really lean into music or like thinking about like craft? Like not just like passively listening to music, but like, oh, like this is like there's magic in this. There's
I feel like for sure that album mm, pushed the needle,
mm,
but I would say music has been something my entire life that has kind of been my saving grace, honestly.
yeah.
From being a child, even like to like being a child, because a lot of times our generation and growing up, we grew up on like Disney Channel and musicals and all those things. So I feel like music in general was like a something that was just always there and something that I've always just been like, oh, that's for me
Yeah.
and that's my thing. Even like being a kid and like seeing Cheetah Girls for the first time or watching like Hannah Montana and being in my room by myself and just singing. And it was just like music is something that's always just like I knew that's something that I loved with everything in me. And I would give my sister the credit as well because I would say, um, being in the back of the car, you know how you were as a kid, and just like your mom would listen to music, it just kind of seeping into you.
Yeah.
Like at that time, the Kishkos, the Fantasias,
For sure.
the Alicia Keys, that whole era, and my sister being young and me like tagging along with my sister all the time. She helped put that inside of me as well because I feel like I want to be like my sissy. So, what do you write most about and why?
I feel like I write a lot about grief because I've lost a lot of people in my life, but also a lot of
Do you mean in terms of death or in terms of like death, friendships, family members, relationships, or
Death.
death?
I do think there's a level of like, grief. We grieve a lot of things in our lives. And so like I do think people who may not have like had to deal with the loss of a person from this world can still relate to some of the things
Yeah.
that come up. Like feeling of like losing yourself and not knowing like what you want out of life, or um
A romantic partner, losing a romantic
romantic
partner.
partners, friendships, um jobs, even like
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of a culmination of things, but usually more explicitly
Yeah.
death and mourning. um but I also write a lot about romance and love
Yeah.
because we need more of it. Like I feel like there's not enough good, powerful, healthy relationships,
Mm.
and like
Sim-
talk about love, especially with Black people.
Yeah.
And I tend to write for Black readership,
Yeah.
or not for Black readership, but I tend to write with my own experiences and
A combination.
knowledge of, you know
What relationship
cultural relationships and stuff
is? Yeah.
in my stories. What is your favorite song that you've written so far?
Honestly, it changes each day. Um, there is a song that I wrote, and it's called "The Truth." It's the song itself is about coming out of a situation and being heartbroken and kind of just wanting someone to come into your life and not necessarily be like a not necessarily be the love of your life, but to make you feel something different than what your last partner did. And it's kind of crazy because, like, a couple months after I wrote that, I met the person that I'm with right now. So it was kind of like, oh, I kind of spoke that into existence. And recently, a couple days ago, I wrote a song about just life. You know the song Ice Cube's "Good Day"? The point of me writing the song was kind of based off of that, and kind of just explaining how life is for me right now. It's not about it's not a good day or a bad day. It's kind of just a day and how I feel about life at this moment. So I really love how that one's coming along too.
Um, do you know Alexander?
Alexander. Yeah, how you just gonna say that and expect me to know somebody named Alexander?
Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day.
Oh,
Oh no. When do you plan to put music out? The people want to know.
the plan is to put music out this year, hopefully by summer. Um, I'm getting it together. There are two, three songs that I've written that I know I want to be on the project. I'm just trying to orchestrate how I want the project to feel and all, and what I want it to sound like. Hopefully by the summer, I can give a good 6, 7 song EP. Some people say that's an album. It's an EP, maybe a mixtape. But yeah, and just see what the people like
Yeah.
the most.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Who is your greatest influence?
Top two, and maybe for some people this might be a little like, oh, maybe that's too on the nose or too mainstream. I don't even know if these are mainstream, but Toni Morrison and James Baldwin, because as someone who has studied um African American history, and the both of them being like, prominent Black writers of their day, I think there are elements of both of their styles I really enjoy. So the genre that Toni Morrison works in, as far as like um fantasy, thriller, gothic, um realism, I love the genre. I think that's the genre for me.
Yeah,
So a lot of her stories kind of have the same vibe that I want my stories to have. But as far as like actual writing style, I think James Baldwin's like stream of consciousness and his characterization of like the world around him and like characters' thoughts and stuff are really similar to how I feel like I tend to write
Yeah.
in, with a focus on what's going on in the person's mind.
Yeah.
Also, Ernest Baines,
Don't know.
he's from Louisiana. And he writes a lot of like southern. He's also one of those like prominent black writers around 60s, 70s. And he grew up in Louisiana in like very rural um area, and he writes a lot about not his experience, but he writes a lot about rural Louisiana. So a lot of his stories are based here. And I think that's just so like, and just it's just so good. He has a good discography of stuff that like talks about the experience of like um older black men on plantations past slavery, and the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. Have you heard of that? That's like my dad's like favorite movie. But it tells like the story of this woman and her experience from like slavery to becoming a free woman. Um, but yeah, really good stuff. Okay, would you, if I gave you 2 minutes, be able to come up with a melody and a hook?
Are you serious?
Answer the question, Kobe.
If you gave me 2 minutes.
Would you be able to come up with a melody and a hook?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's move on to the next question.
Is that gonna come back later?
No.
Then why did you? I thought you was gonna test me for real, dog.
No, I wanted to like get you like worked up. Just to be like, oh, I'm not actually gonna make you do it. But thank you for letting me know that you can't do that.
Yeah, cool.
Your favorite movie soundtrack? So many good movie soundtracks too.
There's a lot of good soundtracks. Lion King. This is kind of childish, ain't it?
It's random.
But
I've never heard.
Would it count as a soundtrack?
Yes, because it's musical.
Okay, you can't say that because I'm sure you love the Little Mermaid soundtrack.
I wouldn't say that's my favorite music soundtrack.
Anyway,
I mean, you can choose what you want. It's just I wasn't expecting that to be. Like I'm thinking with something more sophisticated. Like if you had asked me, I would have said.
Scaredy guy.
Like if you had asked me,
damn,
I would have said
I wasn't done.
It was only one. I asked you for one.
Oh.
Your favorite movie soundtrack, and you chose Lion King as your absolute top. Beats everything.
Oh no! Waiting to Exhale.
Okay. I don't know how we got from. What did you say for my brother?
Not that Lion King. Not that Lion King.
I know. I just wanted to say it.
That's a shit.
I always wanted a brother. I still remember my mother one season.
I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't either. Another one.
But yeah, Waiting to Exhale.
Yes. If you had asked me, because I'm sure you got, I started talking and then.
And also the Black Panther soundtrack.
I was literally going to say the Black Panther soundtrack by Kendrick Lamar X. So freaking good. That one. And then the second one would probably be the first Into the Spider-Verse. It was just so good. Sunflower is overplayed, but also, it's worth it every time.
Also, a really good one. This is not sophisticated at all. The soundtrack that Future did to Superbad, fire. If y'all ain't heard that, go check it out for sure. Miss, I'm a loser.
Love a loser. How you know that song? You don't know that song.
I know the song.
How you know that song?
I don't know how.
That's K-pop. No way. I've never talked about that song with you.
The internet talks.
Okay.
And I walk.
Okay. Hey, question.
Who do you write for and why?
Myself, women, and girls. Oh,
and black people. I'm sorry, I answered for you.
And young boys.
Oh, period. And
You're supposed to say.
So not me.
Not. You can't read.
So not men. I was just so not me. Not the gay boys. Not the gay boys.
I wasn't even thinking about y'all. I'm sorry, but men. No, I would never lie and say that I write for men.
Why would you? They're horrible.
You're not supposed to go along with me. I have a whole spiel, and you're messing it up by doing little ad-libs. But who I write for? I don't want to fall into the mindset of being like so inclusive, where I bring everybody in, saying like I don't see color, everybody can read this, and then negate the fact that there are representations of marginalized communities that we need to see more of in literature. Yeah. So everybody can read these stories, the stories I write. Therefore, everybody to listen, to learn, to feel heard, seen, felt. But if I'm going to say I write with a specific community in mind, I'm going to say my specific racial community. Because I'm writing stories that I wanted to read when I was a little girl, having my little black girl experience. Yeah. But also, in terms of the male aspect of it, because I'm not a boy,
you only can write so much.
I can't tell people how to feel about the things that they experience, but I have enough open-mindedness and empathy to try to understand what that experience must be like. Yeah. Also, having friends who are black males, having a brother, cousins, I have heard about the black male experience enough to know that when it comes to literature and media, the wide range of that experience is not depicted. Yeah. So when I say I write for young boys and not men, I'm saying I write for young black boys who have not yet experienced like the taintedness of like violence and war that society places upon them. When I think about like male dominated genres, I usually think of action. I think of high fantasy, like sci-fi. Yeah. I think of horror. Yeah. And most of those, 2 out of those 3, and honestly you can kind of count sci-fi / high fantasy in that too, usually depict some form of violence. Or like guns blazing, we're taking down these aliens, these people who are different to us. Yeah. I feel like outside of those 3 genres geared towards young boys, the other genres, so we think about supernatural, the vampires and werewolves and mermaids, all this stuff, like usually aren't written with boys in mind. Yeah. Which I think is a detriment to them, because there's so much of the stories that are geared towards them that are violent in nature. Yeah. When there are so many other stories and different things that like talk about love and how like, you know, forming healthy bonds and relationships.
Because honestly, truly, I'm not a action movie type of guy. I mean, I like action movies sometimes, but like I like a good comedy and I like a good romance. A lot of the times that isn't made for boys, for sure. And
and even if you do have the comedy / rom-coms, they're very vulgar. Yeah. And it's all about sex and sexualizing the female body. There's so much that's missing. That's like boys love stories too. And I don't think we talk about that enough. I don't think we talk about how much little boys like and love Disney movies. Mm-hmm. Sometimes Disney princess movies. Mm-hmm. And I remember people being mad when people were saying, "Oh, I'm taking my son to go see Moana too." And they're like, "Why'd you take your son to see Moana?" First off, the boys love Moana. I ain't never met a little boy that don't love Moana.
Because your little cousin was...
He played that every single day. That was his thing. He could tell you he could recite the whole first 10 minutes in his baby babble for that movie. And Maui just going through and turning into different animals. And, like, That was his movie.
And it should be.
And his first movie going to the theater this year
was Moana 2.
Moana 2.
Period.
I have in general thought about the young black boy because of my cousin.
Yeah.
And yeah. And just thinking about like we really do need more representation that takes into account like everybody, especially young black boys, especially young black girls. Because that's how you get stories that really mean something to people. But yeah, little boys need love. And that love, not just learning to love themselves, learning to love the women in their lives, learning to love the world, learning to love life itself, like learning to love...
And learning to be okay to love other men and it not be overly sexualized. That is what.
Like having strong bonds with
their fathers, their uncles, their brothers, their friends.
And because it really is love. This gonna be cliche. Love make the world go around, but it really does. Have you ever doubted your talent? If so, how did you work through your doubt?
I doubted today, but
valid.
But I'm working on belief in myself. To be honest, I'm working on trusting myself more. And honestly, I'm capable of much more than I realize, especially within my writing and singing and all those things. Lately I've been tapping into more, and I'm just taking it day by day, honestly. Favorite project to date?
2 projects. The project I'm working on right now, where I'm actually writing a fuller length kind of novella, about the Grim Reaper.
A telenovela.
Okay. That one I'm really excited for because this is my favorite original character I've ever written and like had to like do their story. Mm-hmm. So it's been really fun like figuring out like how he thinks, what his experiences are. And then the other one is a collection of short stories I'm working on that I'm gonna be dropping something soon. But it's a collection of short stories about like African American like folklore, and like the journey across the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. But it's also like fantasy based with mermaids, and I'm really excited for that. And then your question: how much of your creative ability do you think is innate, or is your creativity a skill that you have developed?
I feel like a good percentage of it is innate. I've always written songs as a child on some like fun stuff. Yeah. It was just like, ooh, let me do it just because and I've always liked to draw, and even as a kid, I would write little stories just to do it. And I've always been creative in that way of just wanting to make something out of nothing. Mm-hmm. But in terms of just like writing, I guess, and like creating those things, my pen has progressed over time. Like all of the writers that I like and all the people that I look up to in terms of writing, that has influenced me, and it just makes me want to think deeper and think more clever in the things that I say, but also be honest and say things that are going to register. So I would say I want it to be simple but effective.
My follow-up to that is what you talking about, like your creativity and it being innate and like creating from when you were young and taking it more seriously now. And you kind of answered it a little bit, but like, why do you create?
I don't think I know anything else.
Look, there's this quote by this woman. Her name is Maria Dowell. I think is her last name. She was a painter in like the 1800s, I think. Yeah. And there's a quote where she said, Dewing, Maria Dewing. And the quote is, I will paint or I will die. It's something like that. Yeah. But it's like, literally, this is all I have type thing. Like, this is what drives my soul.
And not to be dramatic, but I've said this, I don't know if I said this to you, but I said it before. And I don't think I believe it, but I don't think I'll live by this anymore. I would be like, if I'm not a successful artist by the time I'm 30, I'm gonna die. But I don't believe that anymore because I'm growing up and I'm realizing, oh, that's not why I should do it. I'm making music because I love to make music.
Yeah.
If I just go get a corporate job tomorrow, I would still make music because I love music and I make it for myself, but I also make it so it can resonate with other people.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm putting it out there and putting it into the world, I could be dead and gone, and some kid in like 2100 or something find it and be like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And it lives on in that manner. It can be one song, it could be 10 songs, it could be 3-4 albums.
Yeah.
As long as eventually it reaches someone and it affects their life in any type of way, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think you perfectly summed up what it's like to be a creative. Like, you create for yourself because we exist in this world and it's like just innate within us to want to create something.
Yeah.
But we don't do it. I think a lot of us, because we live in a capitalist society, like get into the mindset of like, I have to do something that's gonna like, yes, I have to make money, I have to pay the bills, like rent is due. But it's like, at the core of it, what is your reason? What's your why? Yeah. And if it's just to get external validation versus to just feed your soul, then there needs to be some level of reevaluation.
I do want a couple Grammys. And
of course you want the success because you see other people like also getting that success, and you see that there's, like I said with the reading. Yeah. My mom got me into reading, but once I realized, I can get AR points from this, I can get, stuff from the library, then it became some level of gratification that came with it. Yeah. But I started off being like, I like these stories.
And it's also a thing where I've heard somebody say, I think it's a quote as well, where it'd be like, if you want to remember who you are, always go back to the little kid inside of you. Yeah. Always go back to that 5-year-old, 6-year-old.
I'm always talking to her.
And like, just, girl, what were we doing? Remember who that kid was and what they loved the most. Because once you go back to that, you know who you are.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people, as they age, forget what it was like to be a kid. Yeah. Too. And like having like so much excitement and curiosity about the world. Like we just like, you gotta wake up and go to work. Yeah. And, like there's no excitement to life.
And the way I operate, which everybody knows is about me, I'm always in the clouds. But I feel like that's still a childlike wonder that I hold on to because I feel like that's who I am. I'm childish. That's not a bad thing technically. Yeah. In certain areas, you have to grow up, but into the core of me, I want to play. I mean, this life stuff is serious, but we all gonna leave someday, so we might as well just have fun. Yeah. Do you ever create hidden meanings or messages in your work?
Good question, Cody. Yeah, all the time. I always slip. I think I tend to do a lot with names. Like, I'll slip, like, one of my family members' names in there. Like, I've used my dad's middle name, but it's also my uncle's first name, Lee, in the stories, like, multiple times. Also, some small experiences and stuff that I've witnessed or seen within my family, or usually my family, I'll like slip them into the story, but it won't be like some like major thing to the plot. Yeah. But it would be like, like you maybe see like a minor character like having this experience. Yeah. But really I saw that happen in real life. Just to make it more not relatable per se, but like make it more real. Yeah. I
do the same thing.
Your songwriting.
Yeah. I'll use stories like I'll say from you or from Tiny or from Cameron or just people in my life who I know have gone through certain things, and I'll make a story out of it, or I'll use my own stories.
Yeah, that was the last question, wasn't it? Okay. So that was. Thank you for coming. That was Creatives on Creatives.
I hope you have me again. This is fun for real.
Oh, for sure.
We have to find another little cute thing to do.
Not coming back. I love. Thank you so much. See you next.
Bye,
See you next time.